This is the new CineLR 7 from IFlight. This is a 7-inch long-range quad fitted with the new DJI O4 Pro system. In this video, I'm going to give you an overview of this quad and I'm going to share with you what I think about it. Now, just before we get into it, I need to be crystal clear in saying IFlight did send me this quad over to take a look at for free. However, they have not paid me to make this video. They have not seen this video before it's been published. And as always, my thoughts are entirely my own. Okay, so when IFlight reached out to me, they asked me what would I be interested in taking a look at based around the O4 system. And I thought it's time we started having a look at some of the bigger quads, such as the 7 inches. Now, as you can see here on the bench, this box is massive. This is by far the biggest boxed quad that I've ever had in on the channel, but we'll figure out a way of getting through it. Now, this is obviously based around O4. The model is the CineLR 7 O4 6S HD edition. We're just going to lift that off and I'll show you everything that we get inside. You can see there we've got the quad. They give us some nice 7-inch HQ props in the box as well. We have the quad itself, which is an absolute monster of a thing, which is held really well in place with the foam packaging. There is like no chance on any of the IFlight quads of any of these coming damaged with the packaging that they include. It is really good. And we'll take a look at that a bit more in a second. Then also included in our box is a little bag of accessories and antennas for the quad, because you may have noticed the antennas didn't come fitted. We've got SMAs, RP SMAs on the back. We'll take a look at which one that is when we do the overview of the quad itself. And then in the bottom of the box, if I lift this up, you get all your instructions, you get all your information, a sticker pack as well, which is great to see, and a little user manual on the included hardware that they've given you with the quad as well, including a little bit around the linking it in Betaflight. So to walk you around the quad in a bit more detail, now this comes pre-installed with the O4 Pro ear unit and camera. You can see our O4 Pro camera up front, and then the O4 Pro ear unit is housed right up front here behind the camera. If I just go that side there, you can see there the SD card slot, really nice and easy accessible. Rather than mounting it at the back and having a long camera cable, with a frame this big, they are able to mount it up here and still leave plenty of space for all the electronics. Now, this version is the Express LRS version. It is available in pretty much any receiver configuration you want. This one has the 2.4 gigs Express LRS built in, but you can get it with 868-900, you can get it with Crossfire, or you can get it with the DJI RC system as well. Also at the back there, you can see we have our 2 RP SMA antenna ports. That is because they've extended the antenna cables to the back down there, allowing us to connect our antennas, and they do include some with it in the box. Now, when it comes to the geometry, you can see that it's not an X, it's what they call a H, although it's got flatter front arms and more kicked back legs at the back. But what that means is there are no props in view on this. That means you can use this for full filming on that O4 ear unit. You don't have to mount an action camera on the top. You're going to get your full field of view without props in view, which is great to see. Now, before we get into the main specs on it, I just thought I'd walk you around the quad. You can see we've got our motors underneath. Then we've got TPU legs and protection on the ends. There's some extra TPU protection up the front here around the aluminium front cage. And then you've got your TPU piece at the back that holds our Express RS antenna and our antennas for our O4 ear units. And then you can see it's a fully enclosed design with the sides being covered with 3D printed panels. Now, the frame size on this is said to have a 334mm wheelbase, and that is all being powered by the Zing 2809 1250 kV motors. Now, these are your traditional Zing design. If I just pop off these little covers that they have on top, they include these to show you what the prop direction is from the factory. So for instance, if I just spin it that way, you can see that it is props out at the front and props in at the back. If I just pop these off, you'll be able to have a closer look at the motor. As I said, they're the Xing 2s 2809s. They feature a 5mm titanium alloy shaft, and you have your usual N52 magnets and a 7075 aluminium bell. It's a uni-bell design on these, like all of the Xing motors. Let me just bring it into focus there. You can see that. They are their OEM version, which means they just come in pure black. Xing motors are fantastic. They're some of the best FPV motors on the market, so you're going to have nothing here to worry about with regards to propulsion. Now, when it comes to the mounting of this 04 camera, we have an aluminium CNC front end, and then we have silicon mounts that the camera is screwed into on either side. There you can see there's an adjustment area on the bottom, allowing us to move it up and down, but that is silicon, not 3D printed TPU, which means it should offer a nice amount of vibration isolation. There is also a built-in TPU GoPro mount, allowing you to mount an action camera on the top if you wanted to. Moving around to the back of this quad, now as I've said, you've got your antenna here for your receiver, which is ExpressRS 2.4 on this one. We've got our RPSMAs, but there is something else going on here, because under this little TPU area is a built-in GPS module. This quad has built-in GPS from the factory. That GPS module is compatible with Betaflight that's installed on this quad, and that means that you don't have to worry about what happens in the event of signal loss. You're going to be able to take advantage of those new return to home features in Betaflight, or alternatively, you could choose to run something like iNav on this to have even more capability if you wanted to. Now, as I have mentioned, this quad had fully enclosed side panels. There is a cutout here for the USB on the flight controller, so you don't actually have to remove the side panel to gain access to that. But these panels do actually unclip, so if you wanted to get into the quad to do some work, you can very carefully reach down and start to unclip these. You do need to be a little bit careful because they are 3D printed and they are quite easy to break. However, if you just unclip, you can see there, it removes, and then that gives us full access to all the electronics inside the quad. There is quite a lot going on in here, as you can see. You could do some repair work if you needed to, but the chances are you're still going to need to remove the top cover if you really wanted to do something. But what is nice is that you can get into the side simply by unclipping those covers without having to use any tools. Now, included in the accessories bag is two antennas. We've got our silicon battery grip pad as well. The antennas they include with these, I think they call them their Albatross antennas. You can see here that these are 5.8 gigs left-hand circular polarized antennas. They are RPSMA. They're quite long ones as well. There are two of these included with the kit, and they will then simply screw onto the back. Whilst these are left-hand circular polarized, don't worry about this with regards to using them with your DJI goggles. Too many people get bent out of shape over, oh my God, should I use left hand, right hand? Why aren't they linear? Just don't worry about it. This isn't analog FPV where you have one antenna. We've got multiple antennas on each side. You simply don't have to think about it. Just use the antennas. They will be fine. Just something else to note on that with these antennas, as 04 now has changed how it works with regards to the remote controller link, 5 gigs antennas are absolutely fine. When using this with the built-in DJI RC system with 04, it all works over 5 gigs. There's no 2.4 gigs anymore, so you don't have to worry about that. When it comes to powering this quad, due to the sheer size of the frame, it does give you a lot of options. It is designed to be used with 6S packs. You can choose to use it with LiPos, but it is also designed to be used with bigger lithium-ion batteries as well. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a large lithium-ion pack to test this with at the moment. I'm in the process of building one, and I'm going to be making a video on that in the near future. However, I am going to be testing it with these today. I've got two Dodgecom 1850 milliamp hour packs, and we're actually going to fly these in parallel on this quad and use them to power it with a double adapter. IFlight, though, do make their own large 6,000 and 8,000 milliamp hour lithium ion batteries that you can use with this quad. In fact, IFlight do say in their spec that you can get up to 25 minutes flight time with this quad when using their large full send battery. Now, as I have mentioned already, this quad does have LED lights built into it. So what I'm going to do is turn the lights off and then we can have a proper look. Now I'm going to plug in the USB port. It's quite hard actually because I've turned the lights off and I can't see. You can see when you power it up, it does light up. It has some red LEDs in the side, but what's quite cool when I spin it over, you also have the iFlight logo underneath lit up. You've got these LED traces in the arms and they actually light up the TPU mounts on the ends of the arms as well, which is really cool. You've then got these little inserts in here, and again, that just adds some identification to the quad if you were flying in low light. Nothing comes through at the front. It's all dark at that point forward, so there's nothing there that should affect anything from your camera. But while looking at it underneath, you should be able to have a fairly good view of it from the ground, obviously depending on how far you're flying. Now, just further to that on the LEDs, after I tore this quad down, I found out that there's a little board inside with a button on it that actually allows you to change the LED color. Now here I've got it on that original red, but if I now just press the button, I can change it to purple, yellow, orange, turquoise, blue, green, white, and then back to red. So not only do you have the LEDs, you can even change them as well, but you will need to pull the side panel off to get to that to change the color. You don't actually have to pull the lid off. You can get it from this side panel over here, but I just wanted to show you that because I didn't know that when I recorded that earlier bit on the LEDs. Now, when it comes to software, flight control-wise, it's pre-installed with Betaflight 4.5. That seems to be the current version. Obviously, that's the newer version that supports all the new GPS stuff as well. ESC-wise, though, this is where things get a little bit complicated. When you actually have a look on the homepage for this product, there isn't actually any info about what firmware the ESC has. However, if you look on the page for the ESC itself, they are stating that they are shipping it with the test activator versions of BL Heli 32. Now, I've actually done some checks on my version that I've got here, and it actually seems to have shipped with a version of BL Heli 32, 32.9. What is not clear, though, is if this is fully legitimate. I am frustrated, to say the least, that we still have manufacturers shipping quads with BL Heli 32. It appears to be the case that the version I've got here is shipping with a genuine 32.9, but I would find it wholly unacceptable if they were shipping it with the test activator version of 32.10, because that is not legitimate software. I have a dedicated video on this subject, and I cannot support or endorse any manufacturer illegitimately installing BL Heli 32 software on their products. You should either be installing legitimate licensed versions, which basically shouldn't exist anymore because BL Heli 32 is over, or you should be moving to AM32 or one of the others that is available on the market. Shipping a product with the test version of BL Heli 32 is simply not acceptable. That is shipping illegitimate, non-licensed software without the permission of the manufacturer. No one is licensed to be able to use BL Heli 32 anymore, and iFlight shouldn't be shipping illegitimate versions if that's what they are doing, and that appears to be the case according to the spec on their own website. Now, when it comes to weight, as it is here bare bones, we're coming in at 692 grams. If we toss on our silicon battery pad and our O4 antennas, we're going to come in at 723. We need to pop on our prop nuts as well, 728. And if I toss on the props, we're coming in at 776, 777. I've seen it hopping around that area there. So 777 grams all up without the battery. Now, just to give you a bit of an overview from above, I've taken the top cover off and there's quite a lot of interesting stuff going on in here. Now, at the front, you can see our 04 air unit. And what's interesting is this full CNC aluminium cage extends back a bit further than you'd usually expect. And the 04 Pro air unit is mounted directly to it. That means it's going to act as a bit of a heatsink. You're obviously going to have airflow coming through the front of the quad and in and through. That's going to help cool this air unit. But this is also going to act as a heatsink, dragging heat away from it as well, keeping it cool in flight. Then you can now see all our motor wires. We've then got our little area here with our flight controller. We've got our capacitor there. You've got a little board here for the LEDs that are built into this quad. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in a minute, but there's actually a button on this board that allows you to change the color of those LEDs as well. And then at the back here, we've got our Express RS receiver and our GPS module. Now, with regards to what GPS module, it is the Blitz Mini M10 GPS version 2. Now, if we have a look at this on the iFlight website, we do have the specs for it. It is this one listed here. If we go down to the main spec, it is an M10 GPS module from U-Blox, and it has a built-in compass module as well, which is the QMC 5883L, and it also has a built-in farad capacitor for fast starting, onboard LNA amplifier, RF filter, and a TCXO as well. And it has a 10 Hz refresh rate, so that should be a really decent GPS module for use with either Betaflight or iNav. Okay, so I'm now down at the beach with this for a first maiden flight. Now I'm going to be using 2 batteries. If I just pop this down here, I'll show you what I've done. I've created a double harness which allows me to plug in 2 1800 milliamp hour successes and feed it in. It's going to be fine because this quad is not drawing huge current as long as you take it easy, hence the reason you can use it with a lithium ion battery. What this is going to give me is close to 4000 milliamp hour of power. They both go in there, so we've doubled up. It's a little bit of a bodge cable I've made, but it'll be absolutely fine for the purposes of the flight here today. We've got the antennas mounted on the back. You do just want to make sure that they are tight. I have found that they do loosen up quite easily, and obviously we've got the 04 Pro up front. So I'm going to get it ready to go, and let's take it out. Okay, now as you've seen in that footage there's a mix of stabilised and unstabilised. The stabilised footage was the unstabilised just put through gyroflow. I haven't shown you today any rock steady footage. I've been concentrating on the gyroflow side. I want to do some more tests because as you've seen there's definitely movement in the unstabilised as expected, but there is the odd jitter and the odd bit of unstabilized vibration making it through into the gyroflow footage as well. I'm not particularly shocked about this based on what we know about 04. 04 is very difficult to get perfect. I'm not going to sit here and blame the frame or the mounting options. I think they've done everything they can do with regards to that. I think 04 is hard to get perfect. So if you were looking for absolutely perfect footage, you might still want to fly with a GoPro, but I think it is good enough for most people. I also flew it on the stock settings, which I think is 24 kilohertz PWM frequency. I am also going to try it on 48. I haven't done that yet. I'm going to be doing that in the next couple of weeks. I didn't want to hold the video up for that. I'm going to talk about that a bit more, probably in a live stream in the future once I've done testing on it. Now, with regards to thoughts on the quad and flight time, I like it. It is noisy. I'm going to mention that. It certainly isn't the quietest bird that I've had. You do need to take into account that this quad is audibly noticeable even at range or altitude. Flight time on this, I've been using this on two 1850 6S packs put together, as I showed earlier. Unfortunately, I don't have that lovely 8000 milliamp hour battery that IFlight make. That is a lithium ion. That isn't easy to get in the UK or the EU at the moment, it seems. So as a result of that, I haven't been able to test it with their battery. They're saying you can get over 20 minutes of flight time. My testing so far has been quite variable. When I took it easy, I got over 15, but when I pushed it, I was lucky to get towards 10. This quad will draw 8 or 9 amps if you take it easy, but the second you push it, it will absolutely draw the power. I can't comment on the flight time numbers that iFlight are stating with their battery because I don't have it. What I will say is, I think 20 minutes is possible in the right conditions, in the right situation. And what I have found with this is it's great until you need power. And the second you need power, it really will draw quite a bit of current from the battery. Overall, though, I think if you're looking to get yourself a 7-inch quad, I've got no complaints. It's definitely worth a look. Price-wise, the CineLR 7 is available from iFlight for $735.99. That price may vary slightly depending on the receiver choice you make. So for instance, the 868-900 Express LRS is available, which puts it up around $20. You've got the 2.4 gigs version. You've got Crossfire available as well as all of the other options. There are also additional parts available with the quad as well if you want to order them. However, pretty much everything you need comes with it. About the only other thing I would suggest ordering is an extra set of props. They do also have their long-range batteries listed here as well if you wanted to order them. So that's it from me. As I've said, if you're interested in getting one, there will be a link to it below. I just want to say a big thank you to iFlight for sending this one over. I'm going to talk a bit more about it as I get more flight time as well. I'm really interested in knowing what you think about this quad. Please do let me know in the comment section. And finally, I just want to say, if you'd like to support the channel to allow us to keep making content, please do consider check out the link to my Patreon as well as buy me a coffee. It is only through the support of my Patrons are we able to keep making content on this channel. And if you want to support us, please do consider checking it out. I want to say a massive thank you to all of my Patreons. We would not be able to do this without your support. Anyway, that's it from me on this one. Look after yourself, stay safe, and I will speak to you soon.